The ANC National Executive Committee is still locked in tense discussions as they debate whether the party should go into a coalition with erstwhile political rivals or pursue a government of national unity. And for the latest update, we are now joined by our politics editor, Mzwandile Mbeche, who has spent most of his day at the Birchwood Hotel in Boksburg. And Mzwai, one would say that we were expecting some sort of an announcement from the ANC president from as well as 6 p.m. this evening. It's 9 o'clock. Are we likely to see this address by the president of the ANC?
Well, a very good evening to you, Mbali. As you see me looking behind there, I don't know how far the camera can go in terms of showing you what is happening there in terms of the activity. I know it's dark now, but basically what you see, if you are able to see anything, so those are the reporters, the journalists and the camera people. So we have been called to walk into that room. That is where the NEC members are sitting. So that basically means, Mbali, that the president of the ANC is going towards closure in terms of addressing the NEC members. Then he will then speak to us to communicate the outcomes of what has been transpiring here. We understand that there are several options on the table in terms of the approach towards forming government. The first one is the national government of unity, the government of national unity, and then of course the coalition. So those are some of the priorities or the aspects that have been put on the table. And in terms of reaching out to other political parties, you'd recall that earlier we had been informed that the ANC had not spoken to MK, but we can confirm that there have been some engagements of sorts at an informal level between the ANC and the MK party, so which basically tells you that the will is now in motion. We don't know what the ANC will be telling us, but in a matter of minutes, perhaps we will get to know, because they have just told us that we need to get in there. And the president of the ANC will then communicate those decisions, or rather the nature of the discussions, because remember, whatever they decide here, it's not really final. So it's something that they will take to other parties, and then the other parties will also engage. The ANC is important in this instance because it is the majority in terms of the parties that came out of the elections, but none of the parties that contested was able to then get more than 50%. So it got 40%, I think the second got 21, the third 14, and the fifth and the fourth got 9.5. So those matters inform the nature of the discussions that are happening here. So in the next few minutes, I'm not going to be long, Mbali, because we don't know. So the media is already working in there. So I'm just going to finish it up here and then hope that the president will then speak to the media, of course, speaking to South Africans through the media, communicating exactly the ANC's position or the approach towards coalition or the government of national unity.
And before I let you go, Mzwai, I mean, you speak about the MK party, and we saw that statement coming out this evening, and subsequently that discussion taking place with my colleague Clement Manyatala, saying that there have been engagements. But does this now throw a spanner in the works when it comes to coalition talks that have been held for much of today?
Well, what it basically does, remember, there are so many options on the table, and I think the approach of the ANC is basically to bring everyone on board, because we've never been here before. This is the first time we are here since 1994, and I think having seen how coalitions work in local government municipalities, they certainly don't inspire confidence. You probably will look for something else now that the parties or South Africans decided that no one is getting the outright majority. So that is why it's so important to hear what the ANC is saying, because this is what it will be taking to other parties. Whether the other parties will buy it, it's something quite interesting. We already know that a party like the Democratic Alliance, for example, has said they don't want to work with a party like the EFF and the MK. But if the ANC comes with a model that is different from the coalition, so you would find that it can accommodate everyone. So not necessarily a classic coalition. Because even the DA, which appears a bit more willing to work with the ANC, there is a serious pushback from certain sections of the ANC in regard to having a coalition with the DA. So all those matters really inform what is happening here. But Mbali, we'll just have to go. I'll just have to cut it here.
All right, I don't want to keep you any longer. You can head back inside so that we can finally hear from the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa there when it comes to the decisions which have been taken at that special NEC meeting which has been underway for much of today.